What's up, Solutionaries? Welcome to the Maj 2 Ray Show, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Come on in, say where you from, hit that like button. Y'all know how this go. Want to chop it up with y'all today. A lot of y'all going to be upset with me today. A lot of you are going to be, yeah, man. A lot of y'all are going to get your feelings hurt today. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I want to be very clear about this. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. However, today is going to be one of those. You know, again, everybody come in, tap tomorrow. What's up, nice guy down in Dallas, Fort DFW? Let me know where y'all. Cali Pepper says, oh, he was in here early making a comment. All right. Says a well-known fact about Trump, one of his downsides. Hopefully he can make up for it. All right. I'm assuming Cali Pepper's from Cali. Want to give everybody an opportunity to support the work. Let y'all know tomorrow we are in St. Louis. St. Louis's class is tomorrow. If you go on solutionaryuniversity.org, you can see a schedule. You know what's going out. So we got St. Louis tomorrow, basic firearms training. We have, what's it called? St. Louis tomorrow, then Cleveland the next day. So we got the classes, and these classes happen because of your voluntary support. So you see that little link right there under me? GiveSingo.com/solutionary. Support the work. We got the page back up, by the way. Y'all might have not known, but the page was down. Y'all started supporting, trying to get us to this goal, buying the building, all this other good stuff, and then poof, everybody hit me up. Was like, yo, it's a 404 era. But nonetheless, I actually know the founder of GiveSingo, and I shot him a text, and it all worked out. So I want everybody to go over. If you get some value from the show today, support the work. Support the work. Support the work. We obviously know that everybody has, we try to get 10 folks to match the $20 level in the super chats. So we get $200, 5 times a week. When I see you all, that's $1,000 a week. All of that goes towards the work. Again, going towards the classes tomorrow. St. Louis, Cleveland, and Newark are the last cities on the October run of the BGM tour. And then we're getting ready for Cali and Texas. And this is what we need everybody's support for. We're trying to get 14 cities. I'm going to be in the RV pretty much till New Year. Texas and California. I'm going to drive across the entire country. I'm in Philadelphia. You got to get to Texas. Then you got to do the classes in Texas. Then you got to get to California. So I want to thank everybody for supporting those 14 cities. We need all of the help that we can get. And we want you to do that. So again, guys, the 2 ways that you can support. If you got $20, make 10 of you do the super chat, right? And if you want to donate at the $100 level, I'll go into all of the stuff that you get for $100. I got to repeat these things a lot because there's new followers to the channel. And if you are a new follower to any of the channels, please make sure that you follow and or subscribe. Share this all over the place. Like my guy, I'll probably see Andy Frisella tomorrow. Him and DJ say a lot. They say this a lot. They say, don't be a hoe. Share the show. So I appreciate you all for doing that. Feelings will be hurt today because I have given you guys, well, not even me, the Democrats, Biden, who we have not even heard from, and the Democrats in general usually give us a bevy of content, a bevy of material to make fun of. Just back-to-back goofiness. The goofery levels with the left is so insane that the jokes write themselves. But I want to be very clear. I was raised Democrat. I became Republican. And now I'm a libertarian. So my arguments are for liberty. I am a solutionary. That's the team I'm on. I'm on 3 teams. Family, Team Solutionary, and Team America. Usually all of those 3 things pretty much line up if I'm going to be a part of it, right? So that does not mean I'm on Team Republican or Team Republican Party, Team Democrat Party, or any of that. I have empathy for all of those because those folks are Americans. But I want to be very clear that the GOP and the Republicans are insanely complicit in the foolishness that we find ourselves in right now. And the chief of the Republicans at the moment, whether you like it or not, more than likely the president of the United States of America for the 47th president of the United States will probably be if all early indications, and I have to say if, because we know how that goes, if all early indications are right, it's probably going to be Trump. And we have to be honest about where Trump has consistently got it wrong. We have to be. Our highest alignment is to that truth, is to that justice, is to that liberty, is to our family, is to Team Family, Team Solutionary. And if you're watching this, I'm going to assume you're a solutionary. And if you're not one yet, welcome. You'll be one soon. Okay? We hold each other accountable. We push each other when each other needs a push. And more importantly, we are critical when we need to be. Bobby's in the chat right here, right? Yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was feeling down. And I've been battling this spiritual conversation for some time now. And I said that in the chat. And Bobby was like, nah, you looking at that wrong. You got to play the hand you dealt. Don't worry about everybody else's hand. Don't worry about X, Y, and Z. You got to play that hand. Just hold your hand and wait. See how everybody else play their thing. And an analogy was spot on for me. This is another solutionary in the group. Bobby's been a supporter of BGM from the very beginning. And this is what we have to do. So if you're not in the Solutionary 9 Telegram group, you bugging. You bugging. There's only two ways to get in. I tell you, hey, here's the link. Or, right? Or you sign up for a class and you get access. You be a $100 donor, you get access. All that other good shit. All right? And we'll go into that in a second. But I want to get to what we're talking about today. I got a list here of, we're going to be very critical of Trump in the area that he was very, very bad in. And I know some people say, well, it was just the bump stock ban. And obviously, by now, you know that I'm talking about the Second Amendment. But it wasn't just the bump stock ban. And as he appears to be the favorite, if you're looking at the gatherings, if you're looking at where the sports book is going and where the big money, the bankers are going, it's safe to say that a lot of people want Trump in. It's not even like high science, right? Saying this to say, we have to, when this person may go in there, again, the left gives us all of the material in the world. But we have to be honest and intellectually consistent with the people that we say are on the right or our own. Because some of you in here are Trump supporters, some of you hate Trump. That's the beauty of Solutionary. If somebody likes him or dislikes him, I don't care. Are you going to participate in the Solutionary 9? Are you going to be a safe and responsible firearms owner? Are you going to promote civics? And if so, you'll tell me why you like or dislike this person, but you'll be balanced about it. And when this person may be going to be the now 47th president of the United States, we got to learn from what he got wrong and make sure we holding his feet to the fire. And I don't mean like you can get access to him and be like, hey, you got to do this. All right? It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about changing everybody's perception that says they're with him. We got you in office. You fucked up on these things the last time. And this is what you got to fix this time. Or we don't give you our support. We don't go to your hotel. We don't buy your suits. Whatever. Okay? Here is the list of things where Trump got wrong when he was in the office. Anshe Ivory with the first super chat, $10. She says, I appreciate this organization. I'm praying for the safety of you and everyone traveling with you. Thank you so much for that, Miss Ivory. I appreciate you. I need all the prayer I can get. You know, my Nana would, I haven't prayed in so long. I have been recently. But my Nana, I got to get back on point. But let me read this out to you guys real quick. And I got some articles up. And I want some of y'all to give me some pushback. Give me some challenge on this. I think it's pretty definitive. I think Main Man is, like, based on this list and the receipts that go along with the list, it's not looking good for old Donnie Boy on this one. Obviously, everybody's aware of the bump stock ban. Everybody knows the bump stock ban. Okay? But the bump stock ban doesn't happen without the ATF going in that direction. He appointed an anti-Second Amendment head of the ATF. Okay? So we gotta look at this and step back from the elephant. We say that a lot here on the Maj Toure show. Okay? He, at certain points, supported the raising the age to purchase firearms. That's why Florida's in the mess that it is. And Trump wasn't necessarily just responsible for Florida. Okay? But we have to acknowledge that Florida was you can get a rifle at 18 state, and then Florida fell back, and now it's 21 all over the place. When we get complicit in these certain states, just like anti-gunners do, they thought New York was going to be a 100% anti-gun stronghold. Then we bust them in the head with the Bruin decision. Shouts to FPC. Shouts the NRA was in on that too, right? But they get complacent, and then we bust them in the head. And that's what we do. We get complacent. Florida had that age race from 18 to 21, and no, everybody thought it was a guns freedom sanctuary, and it wasn't. He did not support national carry. And his last campaign before that, when he ran, right, before he won, he was like, oh, we should do national carry reciprocity. Now, I'm a fan of constitutional carry. Some of these things y'all might disagree with me. We're just going to go through the list. And I want y'all to either jump in as I say one that you disagree with so we can get some back and forth, or wait to the end and let's go over them all over again. But I got some articles up here as well. When you say I want national carry, you're in essence saying it's a common sense measure. It is you saying, well, you got a driver's license from this state, and as long as you follow the rules of that state, you should be able to drive through the state. It should be reciprocal. That's an easy conversation as it relates to the license to carry. It should be reciprocal, or there should be a national. Hey, sign up for a national. If we're doing a license thing, as y'all know, I'm not a fan of the license shit. Fighting this case now. Okay? But you say that, and that could be a step in a more productive direction. I'm not the person that thinks it has to be perfect the whole time. But you say that, and then you don't do it. You campaign on it, and then you just be quiet about it. And the most resounding part of this whole situation, when I'm talking about during this campaign at least, was the Hearing Protection Act. Oh, I remember the Hearing Protection Act. I remember there was a gun that came out with it at the same exact time. It was the suppressor is attached to the gun. It looked like RoboCop's gun. And Don Jr. was down there shooting with the CEO of that company, and he got in office. And I was right there at the NRA annual meetings when he was in. I was there I was literally in the front row getting interviewed by CNN. There's a picture somewhere on the internet of me up front, these two older white gentlemen behind me, and Trump on the stage. It was from CNN. If you Google CNN and Black Guns Matter, I'm pretty sure it'll come up. I was there when he said, the 8-year assault on your Second Amendment rights has came to a crashing end. And everything was lining up. Everything was lining up. It never happened. If you're not familiar with what the Hearing Protection Act was, basically explaining how high levels of decibel situation, right, it impacts hearing. So suppressors are more about protecting hearing from, hey man, this should not be an NFA item, National Firearms Act, meaning you got to pay extra taxes, extra whatever, right? Right? That was a layup, and they didn't get it done. They just stopped talking about it. I think somebody got shot. I think the Vegas situation happened, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? If I'm wrong, y'all tell me in the chat. If you're just coming in, hit the like button. Let's get the likes up, everybody. As well as if you're watching this on youtube.com/Maj2Ray, rumble.com/Maj2Ray, I want you guys to make sure that you are subscribing to the channel. The vast majority of you are consuming the content, but you're not subscribing. Run that. Okay? But he didn't support the Hearing Protection Act. And it was wild. It's like it's a layup. It was, okay? That is the equivalent of when they should have given Marshawn Lynch the damn football 1 yard away from the goal line in the Super Bowl. And you didn't. And you didn't. You got all of that going for you, and you don't. Okay? He signed in the Fix Nix into law. And that supports further background checks. And again, I told y'all, some of y'all going to be mad at me. Y'all going to say, Maj, why would you wait this close to the election? Why would you wait this close to the election to say stuff like this? Because if he wins, we have to know what our list of demands are as Second Amendment folks. Now listen, some of y'all in the space might not be as pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment as you thought you were after this conversation. You might. You might find out you actually might be a FUD fucking around. You might be. seeming like Trump might be with this list. And that's not all. He supported the TAPS Act. Okay? He supported at different points banning body armor. Okay? He did get behind some of those extreme risk protection orders. He did. Red flags is what they call. Remember that whole take the guns first, due process later? It's the most damning statement. It's a spit in the face of the Fourth and Second Amendment at the same time. Now, I want you to say, I'm going to say this to you all this way, and then we're going to engage real quick. And I'm going to read some articles for you guys. But I want to say this to you all, and this is the icing on the cake. Okay, all of the things that I named. Take guns first, due process later. TAPS Act, and I'm going to go into the TAPS Act. I got it pulled up. The bump stock ban, it got overturned. Luckily. Okay? Bookworm said, I mean, he is from NYC and was in Hollywood. He gives FUD energy. He does. But you can't get up there. Just we got to hold that same line. Yesterday we talked about Kamala talking about one thing. We can't have you. You a 180er? She missed 180. You missed her 180 out this joint? And honestly, when it comes to the Second Amendment, he looking real 180-ish. Okay? So all of the things that I just named, I said, didn't get behind the Hearing Protection Act. Fix NICS. Raising the age of firearms purchase. Got an anti-Second Amendment dude as the head of the ATF. Obviously, the bump stock ban. Take the guns first, due process later. All of these things, that's just the things that against, all of the things that he campaigned for as it relates to the Second Amendment, he then wins. And when he won, he had 2 years of a full supposed Republican government. House and Senate, Republican, are all the way fucking down. And none of the pro-gun legislation that he campaigned on got through. None of it. None of it. Why am I saying this? We are here, if you're watching the Maj 2 Ratio, we are here watching it because you are a solutionary. You are probably with 3 teams in your life if you're here with me. Team Family, right? Team Solutionary, Team America. There is no way to be on these 3 teams as a solutionary and we ignore these missteps. Maybe he thought, oh, I'm going to go light on the first one. I'm definitely going to I'm going to do so good economically that I'm definitely going to get a second term and I'll do all of that stuff then. Maybe that was his thought. But my future family can't eat no damn maybes. Our liberties and our freedoms are not wheel and deal chips to be tossed around and bartered for other people's whatever. That's not how this go. If you're on Team America, the Second Amendment is very clear. And when we're grading people that we're giving so much energy to, I love the fact that he got shot at, stood up and said, fight. I love the fact that he's like, he just today, last week it was, we might need to get rid of the Department of Education. Today he says, whew, I think I'm going in federal income tax. Whoo! If they ain't try to take them out already, saying some shit like that. Okay? But then we got to go back and go, well, wait a minute. Promises have been made before as it relates to the amendment that gives the rest of the amendments the teeth, the Second Amendment. Promises were made, promises were not kept. And it is intellectually inconsistent for us as solutionaries to jump in that joint or push somebody in a joint and not say, hey, this right here. Okay? I can't pretend like it's looking real like I might say something to a shorty back in the day I don't really plan on being with, but I'm going to say what all I need to hear, she need to hear to get up in there. You know what I'm saying? To get a little something in there. That's what it's given. Let's see where y'all at in the chat. Let's see where we at. All right. First of all, Terry Renee with the second super chat. Guys, we need 10 people at $20. I can't remember who the last person was, but Terry gave 10. She said, the duopoly wants us unarmed for their benefit. We cannot trust them to protect you or us. Carrying at all times should be common practice. I 100% agree with that. 100%. 100%. There's no getting around that. Bookworm says, we got all these problems, and when they get in, we just get more government overreach. That's what it's looking like. So I wanted to get today's episode. I wanted to get everybody nice and comfortable, because I won't be able to see y'all tomorrow because we have the class in St. Louis tomorrow at 6 p.m. So I won't be able to get with y'all. Okay? But I want to leave before we start getting into the classes. I want to make sure that I chop it up with y'all about something that you need to digest this weekend. Are we ignoring these things because we have such a disdain for the Biden-Harris whole team? It's just bad. That's cool, but that lesser evil thing is just still evil. You gotta challenge evil. You gotta really, really be like, nah, that's not what this is. We're putting you in a position because you're to do the job. And the job is defend the borders, command the armed forces, defend the Constitution. Those are the jobs. Okay? Texan spy historian says, don't just hold them to that promise. Go further. There should be no federal gun laws per the Constitution. The various states can make what rules they want as long as they don't have gun rights. Okay? This is where we at with the solutionary. And I want to show y'all something real quick. Let's read up a little bit. Let's get some reading, guys. Reading is good for us. Let's go back. Now, this is the bump stock ban. Okay? Supreme Court strikes down Trump-era ban on rapid-fire rifle bump stocks, reopening political fight. Shouts to our guy Cargill, Michael Cargill, down in the great state of Texas, rumbling even further, winning even further. All right? Let's read this real quick. The Supreme Court on Friday, now obviously, guys, this is a while back, not this Friday. This was, I think, in July, June or July. Matter of fact, let's see what it is. And this is the Associated Press, just so everybody knows what we're dealing with here. All right? This was June the 14th. I said July. The Supreme Court on Friday struck down a Trump-era ban on bump stocks, the rapid-fire gun accessories used in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Let me stop right there. See? Associated Press. This is why I like to tell y'all where we pulling from. First and foremost, the conversation about the Vegas shooting just magically went out the window. I've heard 17, at last count, different stories about what happened that night. The shooting, Braddock, and all that other shit, it just don't make sense. And then, when was the last time any of y'all heard anything about the Vegas shooting? So, I just want to be very clear that right as the Hearing Protection Act was up, right, and then I think it came up twice, and then somebody got shot. A politician got shot or some shit like that, right? But I just want to toss that in there real quick. The deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, and a ruling that threw firearms back in the nation's political spotlight. The High Court's conservative majority found that the Trump administration overstepped when it changed course from predecessors and banned bump stocks. That is true. It is a overreach. When you start letting the ATF tell what the fucking rule should be, okay? The ATF don't make the rules. That's Congress. Legislative, judicial, and executive. 3 branches, not 4, not 5. So they were right. When it changed course from predecessors and banned bump stocks, which allow a rate of fire comparable to machine guns. No, it doesn't, by the way. And it doesn't. It's not comparable. I mean, you could say the word comparable, but that's like saying the stove, because it's hot, is comparable to the sun. And it's hot. So you can compare it, but it's not the same. The decision came after a gunman in Las Vegas attacked the country music festival with semi-automatic rifles equipped with the accessories. First of all, this dude was independently wealthy. He could just buy a full auto. But nonetheless, the gunman fired more than 1,000 rounds into the crowd in 11 minutes, sending thousands of people fleeing in terror as hundreds were wounded and dozens killed. The ruling thrust guns back into the center of the political conversation with an unusual twist as Democrats decried the reversal of a GOP administration's action and many Republicans backed the ruling. See, that's what happens. When it's the Constitution, you're going to get people that's like, oh, no. We disagree. Like, this is, yeah, because we stick into the Constitution. People can't play games when it's not party politics, when it's just, this is the Constitution. And that's what the SCOTUS is supposed to do. All right? The 6-3 majority opinion written by Justice Clarence Thomas found the Justice Department But yo, Clarence Thomas been on a fucking hot streak since he got in there. Okay, he bought an RV, right? He bought a. I'm gonna start telling my kids he named it RV Wade, right? Justice Clarence Thomas found the Justice Department was wrong to declare that bump stocks transformed semi-automatic rifles into illegal machine guns because, he wrote, each trigger depression in rapid succession still only releases one shot. And it's true. It's not. That's why when they say, "Oh, it's comparable," no, it's not. No, it's not. Bump stocks allow rapid fire from rifle. The replacement stock. This is their image. The replacement stock allows an AR, AK style rifle to shoot at a rate up to 800 rounds a minute. That's not true. But see, guys. Anyway, mimicking automatic fire. I'm gonna just skip all that because I'm gonna get annoyed. The ruling reinforced the limits of executive reach, and two justices, conservative Samuel Alito and liberal Sonia Sotomayor, separately highlighted how action in Congress could potentially provide a more lasting policy if there was a political will to act in a bipartisan fashion. Originally, imposing a ban through regulation rather than legislation during Donald Trump's presidency took pressure off Republicans to act following the massacre and another mass shooting at a high school park in Parkland, Florida. Prospects for passing gun restrictions in the current divided Congress are dim. President Joe Biden, then president, guys, this is from a little while back, who supports gun restrictions, called on Congress to reinstate the ban imposed under his political foe. Trump's campaign team, meanwhile, expressed respect for the ruling before quickly pivoting to his endorsement by the National Rifle Association. Now, this is where I think that Trump was wheeling and dealing. If you have, and this is somewhat true, but we should not be in this place. Somewhat true is if we got a conservative Supreme Court that evaluates things completely based on what the Constitution says, then anything that makes it to the Supreme Court is going to be like, yeah, what's the Constitution say? We already have this in the Constitution, right? This is why New York fucking overturned the Bruin decision. That's why they like, no, we going by the Constitution. Now and moving forward from a Supreme Court perspective, any legislation that you're trying to present that is in alignment or present at all, it has to be in alignment with the long-standing tradition of the Second Amendment as written, which was a game changer because it gives more clarity. It would almost be like if the Second Amendment was written even more thoroughly, right? So that's what happened there. And so that's a great thing. But the problem with that is if lower level courts and states and legislatures and things of that nature, we already know that the supreme law of the land is the Second Amendment of the Constitution. Why are you even wasting time? See, what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, we know, but we're just going to try to make this a rule anyway. It might take 5 or 10 years for something to get all the way up to the Supreme Court. And when it gets up to the Supreme Court, this is why they want to expand, leftists want to expand the Supreme Court, because now having 9 justices and they got to be a 6-3, we need more people so there's more of a chance for the Constitution to not be respected. That's their play. Okay? But the problem with this is, it's not that I don't think that the justices on the Supreme Court, the current justices, are horrible individuals or whatever, but the Supreme Court gets it wrong. This is the same body, not the same group of people, but the Supreme Court is the same people that said in the Dred Scott decision that no black man has any rights that any white man is bound to respect. That was a Supreme Court decision, which is why we're talking about human rights, civics, the Constitution as is, because I still do not allow the decision of a majority of people sitting on a judge or a bench to determine what my freedoms are going to be. That's not the concept of America. The Supreme Court is supposed to be utilized sparingly. Those ladies and gentlemen are supposed to be up there talking about studying and law for a long time. And then every so often, something shows up that defies all of what we knew. And then these guys, based on constitutional understanding and constitutional law and things of this nature, then they're supposed to go, okay, we got to make a decision on this. But if local people, the general public, has no understanding of civics, right? They have no understanding of the history of firearms in America. They have no understanding of the areas that have less violent crime, have more respect for the Second Amendment, if we don't inform those people, the voting block, the public servant pool comes from those people. And those people talk to other morons that don't know about the history, don't know about the Second Amendment because we failed to inform them. And then we get to a democracy where, well, it's 10,000 of us and it's only 1,000 of y'all. And we stretch the Supreme Court where the general public isn't having a conversation about rights already in the Constitution. Now it's like every week something's going to the Supreme Court. If you are relying on the SCOTUS to defend your human rights, you are in a bad place. It's great when it goes in a direction as it's supposed to of the Constitution. But if it don't, you got a Dred Scott decision on your hands until it gets back to the Supreme Court and they go, oh, we got that wrong. Fast forward, because I know some people will say, well, that couldn't happen with slavery. Well, right now it can't because we got fucking guns, right? But it could be something as another mistake that was overturned, like a more recent and still highly polarizing topic, Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court was like, nah, the Supreme Court gave federal government too much power on this. And we got it wrong. So if they admit to getting it wrong and overturn those things, how the Dred Scott decision took forever. Roe v. Wade took over 50 years, right? But during that time, all of the stuff that you're doing is unconstitutional during that time. If we're relying on the Supreme Court to make decisions that should have been handled and not even fucking a conversation about, because everybody understands what the Second Amendment is, what the Constitution is, what the amendments are, right? It's certain things shouldn't even have gotten to that point. I did a podcast a few days ago on Lady Luck's channel, and the sister said, and this is not a diss to the sister. The sister said, immigration is a federal issue, and I said, well, the states' lawful immigration is a federal issue, but the states definitely have the right to defend themselves from invasions. Because she was advocating that it was wrong for states to, it's a federal issue. And when Texas got sued by this current Biden administration for defending its own borders, she was like, well, that's a federal thing. I'm like, no, Article 4, Section 4. What are you talking about? And it doubles down later on. My point in saying this is if the general public is unaware, why the fuck you think we teach a civics class? Because I like it? No. I like eating food and jet skiing and giving my girl cucumber salads and things like that. Like, I love doing those types of things. I don't love having to teach civics. I just am good at it. But my point in saying that is I have a passion for it. But these are conversations that we shouldn't have. I got to do it because the schools didn't and took social studies out of the situation. My point in saying this, y'all, is all of this is tied together. Don't get rocked to sleep. I'm seeing the tide turn where it's looking like Trump is almost too much of a favorite. Where I start to go, you deep state. And then when you look at this list that I'm talking to y'all about tonight, then you go, hold up. Wait a minute now. I know Thomas Massie. I was on the phone with Thomas Massie not long after he was the one person in DC that was like, no, I'm not allowing this massive transfer of wealth happen without it being on record. And he told me Donald Trump called him and cussed him out for about a half hour straight. You're a loser. I talked to him right after that. Okay? The goal is to stick to the Constitution. And if new stuff happened that is not addressed in there, we got to put our heads together. But we should not be having conversations and supporting politicians that is going to jump out there and just be like, all of the list of things that I said. And if he's the front runner to look like he's going to be the 47th president of America, we as the liberty folks, as the constitutional folks, as Team America, as Team Solutionary, as Team Family, we got to do stuff. And Bookworm just said, yeah, he on Israel nuts too. I'm questioning anybody that you feel like you got to go Israel so hard. Why? I thought we was America first. It's not a diss, because I don't want nobody like, Maj is anti-Semitic. Like, that's not true. I can prove to you it's not true right here. Maj is anti-Semitic. Maj is, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, I'm not. I am anti trying to fucking hit me with the cat. So when we look at this political infrastructure and we have someone that's about to go into that scenario, we got to go, hey, bro, you got this wrong a bunch of times. What's up? But if we are the leaders as solutionaries and we don't at least do that because we like this person's charisma, the dancing that he does and the weird Michael Jordan pants suits on and shit, like, that's cool. But we got to still be consistent. Speaking of Thomas Massie, I want to show y'all this real quick. Let me show y'all this. Because when Thomas Massie said this, and everybody thought he was tripping. This is from back in the day, too, a couple years back. The Republican leader of the Congressional Second Amendment Caucus says he's disappointed in President Trump's plan to regulate bump stocks and support legislation to boost federal background checks. That part. Rep. Thomas Massie from Kentucky has argued that the Obama administration couldn't find a way to regulate bump stocks, which are an accessory that lets a semi-automatic weapon fire at a similar rate to an automatic weapon. That's a better wording. I'll go that. When you're talking about 800 rounds and comparable, and then you're talking about magazine switches, like, anyway. He says current law doesn't address bump stocks, which means the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives doesn't have the authority to regulate them. Okay? Yes, it was, Omawale. It was. Quote, the Obama administration acknowledged they lacked the constitutional or statutory authority to ban bump stocks. I want to say that again. The Obama administration, when they were in, acknowledged they lacked the constitutional or statutory authority to ban bump stocks. So, President Trump's memo is disappointing, Massie told the Washington Examiner. Quote, what's more worrisome for gun owners, though, is the president's deputy press secretary signaled support for the Trojan horse Fix-Nix bill that was sneaked into the House reciprocity bill last year, Massie said. That is a reference to legislation the House passed in December that will require federal agencies to report information to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System that might disqualify people from gun ownership. The bill, which Trump has said he can support, would also create incentives and penalties aimed at requiring state and local agencies to report that information. The bipartisan Fix-Nix bill was proposed after the Air Force admitted last year it didn't forward information that might have prevented a man who killed 26 people in a Texas church shooting from owning a gun. Last week, FBI admitted it didn't follow the usual protocol of reporting the warning signs that it picked up about the Florida shooter. Let me jump out of this real quick, okay? What it seemed when we talk about wheeling and dealing, it seems like somebody drops the ball. And if I'm the person in the position, I'm the head of the executive branch, I kind of want to like placate people. So it's my FBI technically, because they operated, the Department of Justice, FBI operates at the behest of the current commander in chief. So I don't want to look bad for re-election, for whatever, polls, whatever it is. So I go, oh shit, throw in bump stocks. And this is what I mean by we're not supposed to be allowing people to wheel and deal with our rights because their team made a mistake, or their employees, the FBI, oh, we didn't follow the normal protocol. Here's the ironic part. If more people were armed and safe and responsible gun owners, we wouldn't have this issue where a person can go into a church and shoot up 26 people and nobody return fire. Because not long after that, when that shooting happened, there was a dude that went to a church, and a bunch of the parishioners got one of the old heads. They all had guns. Old head cleared the garment. Boom, get him. Headshot. One shot, one killed. About 20 yards away. Handgun. So this is, again, like we said yesterday, they will set up a narrative to make your conversation, you fighting wrong from the gate. You fighting wrong from the gate. If I'm telling you that we need more restrictions on guns to make the places safer, your fight is wrong. No, we need less restrictions so more people can have a firearm to defend. And then when the general culture is, don't do that, they're going to shoot you if you try that in there. That's why there's no mass shootings in motherfucking police stations. And damn near everybody got a disdain for the police. But you know, if you go in there, somebody gonna be in there returning fire. So they're shifting the narrative, and it's our job to make sure that we expose that contradiction to the maximum degree. And just because you like somebody, Massie's a buddy of mine. I have yet to see Massie do something or present or propose something unconstitutional. He's a unicorn. Trump is not a unicorn. He is a great speaker. He's made a great living, has a solid family, and all of those different things. But when we're talking about the Second Amendment, the amendment that gives all of us Team Americans the ability to defend all of our other rights, there can be no weaknesses there. And during his first term, when he won, when he campaigned into that win, the things that he said, he has not followed through on. He simply hasn't. And I want us to make sure that we're highlighting that and interjecting that into the conversation. Hey, if I'm voting for Trump, every time, you need to be saying, yeah, if you're giving your vote to Trump, you might be giving it to Jill Stein, you might be giving it to Chase Oliver, you might be giving it to Cornel West, you might be insert whoever, you might be giving it to Kamala Harris. Okay? Whatever that is, if you're giving it to Trump, you need to say, or any of those people I named, you need to say, yeah, I like this person for these reasons, but they need to make sure that they are vehemently pro Second Amendment. Otherwise, it's going to be a no for me. It has to be very, very clear. And if we aren't doing that as the leaders, if you're watching the Maj Toure show, you're probably already a solutionary. And if you're a solutionary, you know the work that we do at Black Guns Matter of teaching and training and informing people about their safe and responsible gun ownership and how they do that properly. We do that because of voluntary donations. I'm going to ask everybody, donate at the $100 level to that link right under my face right now. Okay? But if we are not informing the people, or if we are informing the people, right? And then we're not holding those public servants, including the ones that we like, to this standard, we're cutting our nose to spite our face. We are informing people to be safe and responsible gun owners while empowering politicians to make those people that we just trained felons because they got a magazine over 10 rounds or they got a bump stock or whatever. There can be no room for that as it relates to Trump or any politician. Anyway, guys, I think that's a cool place to wrap up. I want to thank you all for tapping in. Again, guys, there will be no class, or there will be no Maj Toure show tomorrow. We are in St. Louis. We are teaching. I'm gonna go hang out at the First Form facility. I'm gonna see if I can get Andy Frisetta to let me drive his Bugatti. Okay, never drove a Bugatti before. Okay, yes, let's take some questions. Gabriel said, "Can we take any questions?" If you guys got some questions, let's do that. As I'm waiting for the questions, givesingo.com/solutionary, guys. If you want to donate in the super chat, do it in the super chat. We need like 8 more folks at the $20 level. Donate $20. Helps out a whole lot. But guys, we need 148 donors at the $100 level at givesingo.com. As I'm waiting for questions, I'll say this. Everybody that gives at the $100 level, you get access to all 3 of the classes, online classes. Civics, Firearms Basics, and Understanding Imminent Threat. You get a curriculum that goes right to your email when you pick when you want to schedule those classes because you do it at your own leisure. Outside of that, you're paying it forward. With $100, I can get 2 in-person students, $50 and $50, right? So you're getting 3 classes and you're paying for 2 students, which is 5 classes. You get access to your own personalized link to sell. The shirt says "fuck Wuhan" if y'all didn't know, right? You get a personalized link to sell your own, to sell the merch, and you get 20% commission, 15 or 20% commission. You get access to the Solutionary 9 Telegram group that I was talking about at the beginning of the show, and a bunch of other things. We want to incentivize you for giving $100 or more. That's what it is. It's not about selling you the courses. It's about, hey, you get this for helping somebody else. And if we all do that, we make a really, really big impact. So givesingo.com/solutionary. Let's take a few questions. Let's see what we got here. Gabriel says, my understanding is that the original Bill of Rights only applied to the federal government. No, not at all. And and the original Bill of Rights wasn't even 10. It was 19. Wait, you're saying only applied to the federal government. What do you mean? You should clarify that statement a little bit more, because I might be thinking something else. It was government in general. Because if this, I get what you're saying. Like it was specifically for federal government. Yeah, but states weren't supposed to make rules that supersede the federal laws and the Supreme Court and the Constitution anyway. So you as the state aren't supposed to make a rule that's we already handled in the Constitution. And if it hasn't been handled, we'll get an amendment, right? Or we'll get something else. 2/3 of Congress will vote on it, right? So it would only be applied to the federal government because the states weren't supposed to make dumbass rules that attempting to supersede, the Constitution at all. You get what I'm saying? And Gabriel again says, so that means states and local government can implement gun control, but the federal government is restricted by the Second Amendment. Again, preemption and all that type of energy. You can, and they do, but it gets overturned. And that's my point earlier. It's stupid to make these rules when we know we're just going to fight them up to the Supreme Court. The reason why it's stupid and people are doing the stupid shit is because the people are stupid and aren't aware. And if my constituents can believe that me pushing for gun control somehow makes them safer, I get to keep a job because I'm doing stuff for y'all. Instead of saying, hey, I'm pushing for something that limits your right to defend yourself against the government and criminals, right? But the general public, again, the game is to make you start backwards. If you fighting backwards, right, you already off kilter. So if you believe, because you don't have the right information, that these politicians are doing something to help you, because you don't know the Constitution and the American history and things like that, you lost from the gate. And it's very important. Anyway, guys, Super Weapon says something very clear too. Also, 9th and 10th Amendment was ensure the federal government couldn't make stupid rules that will violate for FYI everyone. Listen, where's my Constitution at? Listen, guys. I want everybody. I'm going to try to get this company. If anybody knows where we can get these little handout constitutions, the company that does it, please shoot me an email. majtoure@solutionaryuniversity.org. Shoot me an email because I want to get some of these to give out to people. And guys, you also should sign up for the Civics class. If you become a $100 donor, you get access to the Civics class. I want everybody in that Civics class. It's very, very important. So anyway, guys, I'm going to tap out for tonight. I will see you guys on Monday. Because tomorrow's Friday. We don't do it on the weekends. I will see you guys on Monday. Monday or Tuesday, I think I got a really, really dope concept for y'all. But again, guys, share this all over the place. If you are watching on Twitter, Quentin says, while in St. Louis, come to the hood, Walnut Park. All right, I'll pull up over there. Message me on whatever platform you follow me on, Quentin. I like hanging out in the, I was in Baltimore last week. Like, I was at some fucking hood bar doing the show. It's like, I was there for like a couple of hours and left. Yes, so message me that because I need to know where it's at in St. Louis. I like St. Louis a lot. Support, guys. If you got some value from the show, please support with a donation. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Also, share the show all over the place. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe. YouTube.com/Maj2Ray. Rumble.com/Maj2Ray. As well as if you are on... Oh, Bobby, I forgot, bro. It was last minute, though. Somebody asked me like the day before. Matter of fact, I'm going to hit you up in the group after this because it was, I can't remember what part of town it was in. But anyway, guys, follow, support, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you got some value, please, guys, if you only got $10 to give to the Give, Send, Go, give it. 1,000 people giving $10 is $10,000. Imagine if we did that in the next hour. That would be great. So anyway, guys, GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I will see you all Monday for the Maj2Ray show, where we talk about sports, we talk about politics, we talk about pop culture, we even talk about bread and circuses, but either way, we're going to turn it into a solutionary. I'll talk to y'all in a bit. Be safe, enjoy y'all weekend, be solutionary.